Imagine you're a young woman dropped off at college, not knowing a soul, and immediately being asked by the dorm leaders to attend the freshman initiation party. You meet a ton of new people, and then you meet the one, a tall, handsome man who fits all the criteria of perfect boyfriend material. He offers you one drink, followed by a charming smile. You gladly accept, and one drink leads to many more drinks, giving way to a night comfortable enough to embrace his strategic advances. The picture-perfect night becomes a walk of shame, followed by Prince Charming turning into a ghost. The trauma of the event leads to a cycle of parties and casual dates in hopes to recreate the special night you had, only finding yourself ghosted again and again. Because of stories like this, millions of young women started sharing their experiences on social media, which has led to TikTok trending the 304 phase. If you don't know what I mean, type 304 into your calculator and turn it upside down. This is code word so people on social media can share these subjects without their accounts getting deleted. However, this trend also shows that more and more women are realizing how detrimental hookup culture really is for their mental and emotional health, and the continuous regret of indulging in the 304 phase is causing mental trauma to women who have to deal with the consequences of their past. If you want to know why women are getting tired of hookup culture, stay tuned till the end of this video. Let's take a step back to when it all began, the sexual liberation movement from the 1960s through the 1980s in the US. It's portrayed sex as a means of empowerment for women. This promoted the idea that taking control over their sexuality and having casual sex with multiple partners with no strings attached is liberating. For many women, the hookup culture is interpreted as an outlet to be on the same playing field as men's autonomy. Another defining characteristic of the sexual revolution was the FDA approval of hormonal birth control pills. Having access to a secure contraceptive, women had more sexual freedom and opportunities for family planning. This planted the seed of modern-day hookup culture. Hookup culture refers to a cultural trend that emphasizes casual sexual encounters without necessarily seeking a long-term committed relationship. Young college girls who are just exploring their sexuality find hookup culture to be empowering, as it provides them with more freedom and independence over their own sexual lives. Also, enjoying physical intimacy without the expectations or obligations of a committed relationship. Some find hookup culture empowering because they believe it has ended the double standard around sexual freedom for men and women. They regard normalizing hookup culture as a way to normalize female promiscuity. In reality, hookup culture has left many young women with feelings of shame, emptiness, and insecurity. And the women who went through the 304 phase are now regretting their choices. But what made them realize that the sexual revolution was the worst experiment that happened to women? Let's have a look at some of the reasons. Hookup culture often promotes a casual approach to sex and relationships, where individuals may engage in sexual activity without any emotional connection or commitment. For some women, this can lead to feelings of emotional detachment or disconnection, which can be unsatisfying or even harmful. More sexual partners can cloud a woman's decision-making when the time comes to find a lifelong partner. The comparisons may lead to the thought of always trying to find a better partner, hence never being satisfied. On the other hand, some women can develop high expectations of a relationship with their temporary hookup. Having a no-strings-attached attitude may sound like fun, but it is not always easy. Women are more emotional, and the probability of them getting attached is high. Relationships between hookup partners can become complicated if one person becomes emotionally attached and the other does not. A lot of times, women think they can change the man's mind if they give him what he wants sexually. This can have negative effects on one's self-esteem and may increase stress and anxiety. There's often a double standard in hookup culture, where men are celebrated for their sexual exploits while women are stigmatized or judged. In college, boys with an array of hookups are usually jokingly called players or studs. Men's promiscuity is rarely looked down upon, and it can even become a matter of pride. Where a man is celebrated for his sexual conquests, the woman is labeled easy, which leads to internalizing their label and potentially becoming more promiscuous. They may be rebelling on the outside, but subconsciously doubting whether they are worthy of love. Even in traditional norms, men in power were not judged on their sexual behaviors. In fact, they were open to polygamy or having multiple sex partners. However, women were judged, and harshly, for engaging in similar behavior. These traditional double standards gave men power in hookups and justified the disrespectful treatment of women. Hence, young women are stigmatized for their hookups and having trouble finding a potential partner due to their past. Having a large number of sexual partners threatens a woman's prospects of obtaining a stable relationship. When it comes to deciding on a life partner, men are turned off by women who participate in the hookup culture. That is why in traditional dating, women are advised to play hard to get and told to let the guy take the lead. Men and women have different criteria for how they see the other gender. Women are usually hypergamous and don't reduce their standards. They have the same standard for who they would date in a relationship and who they would sleep with. In comparison, men have different criteria for both. A man can sleep with anyone, as it is a method for managing their sexual energy. However, he will never be in a serious relationship with a woman who is promiscuous. A woman has the notion that if she can sleep with a man, it means he is attracted to her. But in actuality, he is only with her for something casual or a one-night stand. The hookup culture is so normalized that women who don't want to have casual sex are judged as having sexual issues. They are asked by friends, "What's your body count?" Or "Are you gonna die a virgin?" Or things like, "You have to go through a whole phase to know what you really like." Some women don't want to be part of this culture because they simply prefer a committed relationship. But with the urge to be included, these young women are compelled to sleep around with other guys under the disguise of feeling empowered. Later in their 30s, these women who gave in to pressure regret listening to their promiscuous friends' advice because their 304 past has diminished their chances for a serious relationship, which is what they originally preferred. Therefore, the word of advice for young ladies who are watching this video is, choose your friends wisely, as some will actually help you where others just want to feel better about their choices, so they pressure you to adopt their lifestyle. The point that's important to remember is, hookup culture encourages promiscuity and pressures women into pretending that this is what they want. Having boundaries around sex is seen as prudish and alien among college boys and girls. Moreover, the biggest risk of participating in hookups is that you may not allow yourself a chance to experience the genuine feelings of true intimacy and love. Hookup culture is fun when you're young because you've got limitless options. But there comes a time when those options start to disappear, and settling down and finding a long-term partner becomes more difficult due to the 304 phase in your past. What are your opinions on hookup culture? Let us know in the comment section below.